Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hour number 3, Ready, Set, Bet. Matt Brown, Mike Somich here on a Saturday. Thanks for your time. Channel 158 over on Sirius, YouTube TV, VSiN Watch app, terrestrial stations across this great country of ours. Keith Mitchell, bogeys hole number 3. So Shane Lowry, your outright leader over there at the Truist currently. So as you said, Mike, you know, better number could have been gotten about 15 minutes ago. So he is 2 under through 3, 13 under. Substraka did birdie finally, so he is on the prowl there at 11. So should be an interesting finish over there at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. Fun fact, the oldest country club in America.
I knew that. I knew that it was the oldest country club in the America. But you mentioned it to me before the show. It's the only reason I knew it. Interesting, like the fact that it's named Cricket Club kind of gave away that it might have been around for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, 1852 or something like that. So yeah, it's been around for a hot minute. One of the things, just to kind of put a bow too on the Derek Carr thing, you hear a lot about people who know Derek Carr and say he's just like a genuinely good guy. No matter how you think he comes across in the media, or whether you think he was a good quarterback or not, like people will say he's a really good guy. Mike, he did the Saints a big solid, by the way, by retiring, because we already know this team was in cap hell as it is anyway. He could have just spent the year on IR and collected $30 million. I mean, like who does what he did? You know? Like, I mean, it's just like,
yeah, it is a very, very nice gesture from Derek Carr, because like, as you can see by that tweet there, he was guaranteed $30 million this year. Now they let him keep the signing bonus at $10 million, which is nice of the Saints. But in like the long run, you're like, hey, please keep it. Just retire. Yeah. Let us get this cap money back. We don't want to take this hit that we have coming up. So, good on Derek Carr. I'm not sure I would have had the same option. Although I guess he would have probably had to go under surgery again. Like he would have at least pretend like he was rehabbing if he was going to stay on the roster. Maybe that not worth it to him. And yeah, he's made a couple bucks over his career. I think it's over $200 million in his career for Derek Carr.
But dude, can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean,
you made a boatload already as it is anyway. But like, unless you are worth $1 billion, $30 million is $30 million.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
30 million is 30 million, but good on him. Like I said, solid guy, apparently, with all that. Mike, we talked a little bit about the fact that we will not have a Triple Crown winner this year. Of course, Sovereignty is not going to run in the Preakness. So what now do we do trying to handicap this race? I mean, I know we don't even know all the horses that are going to be participating here a week out.
No, we don't. We'll find out tomorrow, or I'm sorry, we'll find out on Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern, the post position draw. So we'll have an official field then. And we've seen this field kind of expand and contract over the last couple of days. We had Rodriguez, who was in the field. He ends up pulling out. Goal oriented for Bob Baffert went into the field the day before Rodriguez ended up coming out. So you are going to have one Baffert instead of two. Makes a lot more sense why goal oriented is in this race now that Rodriguez is out of the race. Journalism still questionable whether or not he is going to run, so we'll find out shortly. We do know that Michael McCarthy has said the plan was to run him in all 3 races in the Triple Crown if he was healthy and came out okay. He did come out okay of the Kentucky Derby. He is going to be working over the track both yesterday and today, and then Michael McCarthy going to make a decision whether or not we're going to see journalism in the second jewel of the Triple Crown. And big news this morning, which I actually do think gives the race quite a bit more buzz. Sandman, who was your second choice in the Kentucky Derby, owned by Griffin Johnson, who's a famous YouTuber, TikToker out there, is now announced in for the Preakness, and that was not something that anyone was expecting. So that news came across the wire today. We've also got Clever Again, who'll be in there. East Avenue, who was in the Kentucky Derby, is going to be in the Preakness as well. So it looks like we're going to have somewhere between 8 and 9 horses in this field if we don't have any more late additions to the field, Matt.
What is the biggest difference between the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness from a handicapping perspective?
20 horses. So I like that. The Kentucky Derby is so unique because there's only one time all year in America that we're going to see more than 14 horses head gateward, and that's in the Kentucky Derby, where you have 19 or 20 horses who end up in the post. We had 19 this year. Generally, we have 20. But that to me is the biggest delta when you're handicapping it. It makes it very different from a post position perspective because the post position in the Derby is exponentially more important than the post position in the Preakness. You also have a much higher chance of a fast pace in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, the year Mage won the Kentucky Derby, we saw a fast pace there. He goes to the Preakness, and National Treasure goes gate to wire because there was absolutely no speed in that field. So the pace is changing quite a bit from one race to the other as well. The opportunity is much less in the Preakness. I mean, I talked all week about the $1 Superfecta and why you have to bet it in the Kentucky Derby. You don't have to bet the $1 Superfecta in the Preakness because those payouts are not going to be nearly the same because you have less horses and because you generally are going to see a race that trends more toward horses that are shorter prices. You don't see a lot of Preakness winners at 12 to 1, 15 to 1, 20 to 1, and we've become accustomed to that in the Kentucky Derby as well. So it's just a different style of handicapping. It's more like your day-to-day handicapping a race versus a major race in the Kentucky Derby with that many horses.
So we know you go to, like we just talked about, okay, so now that we're in Sacramento with the A's, we're in Tampa, we're in Colorado with the Rockies, how drastically different from when we were in, the old park in Oakland, et cetera, et cetera. Are there big differences in the tracks themselves, or is it more like a football game in which it's like, okay, the weather might come into play in a football game, but still it's 100 yards long and that's how we're handicapping, a football game.
So there are minor differences. I think it's more like a ballpark, but not with the condition factor of it. Like the elevation, right, in Colorado and Sacramento makes a big difference. The turns are different sizes. The stretches are different lengths. So Churchill Downs has the second longest stretch in America. That tends to favor horses who are coming from off the pace. Racetracks with wider sweeping turns also generally favor horses coming from off the pace. The Pimlico turns, I'm not going to say they're tight because there are tighter turns in America, but it is definitely not as sweeping as what we got at Churchill Downs. You'll also see certain horses that just prefer certain racetracks, and that's one of the reasons we were on Sovereignty in the Derby. He had won over that Churchill Downs dirt in his 2-year-old season. Pimlico doesn't run a lot of races and doesn't run a lot of graded stakes, so you don't see very much past performances from these horses. So you got to keep an eye on the morning and the workout, see how they're taken to the track. But in general, Pimlico hasn't been known as one of those racetracks where you have to be overly worried about a horse loving or hating the surfaces. Del Mar, Saratoga, Churchill Downs, those are very different dirt surfaces than some other tracks where the horses are regularly running. Pimlico, you don't have that same issue. So for me, the racetrack, not as big of a part of the handicap as it was just 2 weeks ago.
We got the Celtics and the Knicks going to be tipping off here in about 25 minutes. This is now out to 6 at DraftKings, 6 at FanDuel, 6 at Superbook here in Vegas, and now is a juiced 5.5 at MGM, at Caesars, at Circa, that'll do it. And then you can get the flat 110, 5.5 at Fanatics and ESPN if you're looking to back Boston in here. So we did see, at least at DraftKings and FanDuel here, Mike, some money come in on the Celtics. It is juiced at MGM, Caesars, and Circa.
Yeah, not surprised. I mean, we talked about this game earlier in the show. I know you have a bet on Boston. I would bet Boston if I was going to bet the game. I would be looking at alt lines. Just like you mentioned, you played Celtics minus 9.5. I would be looking at 9.5, 14.5, 19.5, basically laddering up the Celtics team and playing into a blowout. I think you're going to get a monster effort here from Boston, just from a hustle perspective on the defensive side of the ball. It feels like this is a game where Boston gets right. And if they don't get right, they're most likely out of the series. So you got to expect that Boston comes out with their best effort here. And I like them on the alt lines. I don't have any bets on this game in my account. I mentioned looking at like Boston to win the championship. They're plus 310 out there right now. That number's a little short in my mind. I was hoping I'd get like plus 400. But we're still seeing the slow movement in the NBA market, even with the 3 favorites all struggling right now.
Yeah, I'll admit, I thought about playing Boston first half as well, because it's kind of like also a cover my rear end bet where it's okay, maybe they do exactly what they've done for the first 2 games and they go out and they play okay and they get this lead and they do whatever and then they blow it in the second half. I thought about that. It's sitting about 3.5, Mike. I don't think it's a bad bet. I don't think if anyone came to me and said, hey, this is what I'm looking to do instead, I would be like, okay, it makes sense to me. I'm fine with that, because I actually do think if if Boston wins this game, Mike, I think that they just play well overall. And as we said, might win at margin. And so if you want to lay the 3.5 in the first half, I think that's perfectly fine as opposed to the 5.5 over the course of the game.
Yeah, I don't mind that handicap at all. It makes sense, right? It's what we've seen from Boston, coming out hot, getting big leads, and then giving up those leads later in the game. If you want to play off that same tendency, then Boston first half is a very logical move.
Yeah, I mean, look, make a few threes and, they could cover. I mean, they could be up. I mean, seriously, make a few threes and don't get sloppy, and you could be looking at certainly you could certainly be looking at that lead. Okay, what we are seeing now, my screen just flashed. People are coming in on the over. So this is turned to 210. Everyone flashed at the same time. So this must be like a move here by people because every book flashed at the same time. So the books that were at 209 are now 209.5. The ones that were 209.5 are now up to 210. So the over money coming in here 20 minutes before we tip. And again, this flashed at every book in the country. So this was a targeted hit here, Mike.
I'm kind of surprised. I actually thought, I would lean toward the under if I was going to play this game, which is, you usually don't see that targeted of a move this close to tip off by a group, but clearly somebody out there likes this over. We didn't even get to 185 in game 2. Game 1 was 213. So did see some points there, but I just expect the Celtics to play a lot better defensively. And that to me leans this game going to the under more than the over. So I would be against that move if I was putting in a bet on the total, Matt.
Yeah, I guess it's also kind of interesting to me because wouldn't you think in a coordinated deal, then it would also move towards the Celtics, right? Because isn't the only way this thing gets here is if the Celtics play good? Like, I don't know. You
sure think so? You would think it's a lot of Celtic points that help you get to 210.
Guys, you've heard about our friends over at First Bet, 1stbet.com. Use the promo code VSiN200 and you are going to get up to a $200 sign-up bonus whenever you do that. Go in. You can make your bets. You can watch the races. It is the place to bet horse racing. FirstBet.com, 1stbet.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Somich. We did not forget about the UFC this evening. We do have Britton Hess joining us next segment, so stick around for that. We will see what he's got in his account. We are witnessing a total fight here on this game, in which we go, oh, guys, those 209s turned into 209.5s. The 209.5s turned into 210. Well, then now we're seeing the 210.5s. We get all the way to 211 at Circa, which you and I want to voice this on air, even though this is obvious to a lot of you people out there who listen to the network a lot and or bet a lot. Circa's not moving on Steam. Circa's not copying other books or anything like that. And so for them to get to 211, pretty significant money came in. Then we see the 211 turn back into 210.5. So someone said, okay, that's too much. But we did go from a 209 flat to 210.5, Mike, in the course of one segment. So in the course of 10 minutes, we see this thing move a full 1.5. So some serious action coming in on the over as we approach tip off here in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of overaction there. I always find it fascinating, like when you reach the breaking point. And in the NBA, NFL, when you move 2 or 3 points on a total, I understand why all of a sudden you're seeing people coming on the other side. Very interesting to me that you saw the immediate move to the under when we hit that 211 number as well. So you got that over bets that came in, but that point and a half, someone out there was like, nope, we went too far. I'm taking a big number toward the under as well. So very, very interesting total action here with just 15 minutes till tip off.
If you are a steam chaser, it is still 209.5 at DraftKings currently. So if you just want to bet with whoever decided that this thing needs to be higher, you are still getting the best of the number at DraftKings right now at 209.5. So we'll just throw that out there, Mike. We're not saying that's the way to go about this, but somebody obviously thinks they've got a good position on this thing.
Well, I would say some group, not some single person. Yeah. This is just like you said, to see a coordinated move across 7-8 sports books across the country and Circa, which is most likely being bet in-house to make that number move, tells you that there's a group that likes this over today.
Let's go to Major League Baseball. We do have some late afternoon games, or if you are on the East Coast, go ahead and call those night games. Giants and the Twins is 7:15 Eastern, 4:15 Pacific. This is about a coin flip in this one, a flat 7 total. And Mike, we have a really good one here in Logan Webb and Joe Ryan. Logan Webb is not necessarily known to be a strikeout pitcher. However, his K rate is up this year. And I went and I dug in over at Fangraphs and tried to figure out why this is. And by the way, guys, if you don't do stuff over at Fangraphs, you definitely should. Awesome site for all things baseball and all things whenever you're looking at advanced stats. They have a thing called Stuff Plus over there in which they go in and look at the differences in the pitches and try to figure out the actual pitch themselves and the type of pitch that it is. And then they go in with location and velocity, all the different things like that. His Stuff Plus on his fastball, on his sinker, on his changeup are all significantly up this year, which has led to a better K rate for Logan Webb as well. And so while it's not a completely free swinging Twins team, I will say that a 5.5 strikeout prop is at least somewhat intriguing to me. I have it written down. I have not yet put it in the account yet, Mike, but I understand we don't normally get these super high strikeout stuff, at least historically, from Logan Webb. As good as he has been, that's not really his forte, but I don't know. He did something this year. Like I said, I don't know why, but the fastball pitch, the 4-seamer, he throws the sinker a ton, but the sinker itself as well, and then the changeup are all like way up as far as these advanced stats and how these pitches perform.
I got to say, I am shocked that Logan Webb is only 28 because I started looking through some of this. And I thought he was older. I thought he was in his early 30s. You do see some development sometimes in that mid 20 range from these pitchers. And so maybe it is something that you're a little bit early to, that he's just got better stuff this year because of something he worked on during the offseason. If you look through his game log, he's already got 12 and 10 strikeout performances this year. Every other game has been 5 or 6 strikeouts. So he is much higher on the K side. And he's not using that many pitches to get to him either. He's averaging right around 100 pitches per game and still striking out those numbers. So I do like the idea of trying to get in front of the market here. I'm not sure if I do it today against the Twins. You mentioned not one of the more free swinging teams, but Logan Webb stuff definitely different this year when you dive into it.
Yeah, I don't know what he has done, and we'll see if it holds up. But at least through the small sample size here, the fastball and sinker and changeup all working better than they have in years past at getting those whiffs. Padres and the Rockies. This is currently, let's see, where are we sitting? That is about minus 245 Padres on the road, 2-1 Rockies at home. We know how terrible the Rockies are. This is sitting 12 on the total here, Mike. How you looking to bet this thing?
Well, I have my, hey, you can make a fun bet parlay, including 3 of the different Padres here to get RBIs and Tatis, Machado, and Bogarts with a couple Yankees, Goldschmidt, and Bellinger. That's 25-1. I did just go ahead and bet Machado to get an RBI here in this spot. This is a Rockies team that's giving up 10-plus runs per game for the last 4 games. This is a Padres team that hits the baseball very well. Machado in the middle of the lineup should get RBI opportunities. Right now, just minus 110. And Matt, I am looking for a way to bet against this Rockies team every single day because they are that bad. And today it's finding someone, I think, on the other side that can get an RBI. That's going to be Machado. So give me Manny Machado minus 110 to get an RBI today.
I also rarely go in and do the whole like, hey, let's bet a home run prop. But you're in Colorado. It is 73 degrees in Colorado, so it's actually starting to warm up there already. Mike, we are getting 12-mile-an-hour winds blowing out at Coors Field today.
This is great hitting conditions today.
73, 12-mile-an-hour out. If you want to take some darts on some home run props in this one, if you're a DFS player, I know it's always all Coors Field games, and as it is anyway, and I know the players are all going to be super expensive, but maybe it's figuring out a way to get some of these dudes jammed into your lineups or something today, because again, it's just the Coors factor now with the heat and with the fact that you're getting 12 out. And by the way, that is like for all 3 hours of game time here. Like it is supposed to be sustained winds like blowing out there. Buddy, let's home run prop this thing, shall we?
If you're DFSing, the two games you should be looking at are that Yankees-A's game and this Padres-Rockies game. I mean, just phenomenal hitting conditions in parks that already are phenomenal hitting parks. Like it's why I did an RBI parlay between those two games. It's why I think it makes sense. If you want to do a home run parlay, those are the games you look at. These are just great hitting conditions with very good road hitting teams against bad in Colorado's side. I do love JP Sears. I'm not going to call him a bad pitcher, but sub average pitchers pitching for both of the home teams. To me, there's just a ton of opportunities here if you want to get a little creative and have a little fun with the Yankees and the Padres today. Yeah,
the only other one here for me that I would, if you can avoid the rain, man, down in Tampa, mid 80s, we're talking during the first hour and a half of this game, 13, 14 mile an hour winds blowing out to left. There at that one, again, Mike, there is a risk of some of these storms running through and messing up some sort of bet there or something. But if you bet a home run prop and they hit a home run in the first inning, it doesn't matter. It cashes.
That is true. There you go. There are some, we've talked a lot about Steinbrenner Stadium in Tampa. We've talked a lot about the Athletics playing in Sacramento. We're going to talk a lot more as the weather warms up. Those parks are just going to get better and better hitting environments as we go deeper into the season.
Tell you what, I don't normally play home run props, but I'm going to throw a couple into the account today to have something fun to root for as well. And basically it's a middle finger to baseball too, because they decided to not give us any game to sweat while we were on air today. So we don't take
unbelievable.
I know.
We should have at least 4. We usually have 4 or 5 games every Saturday morning, every Sunday morning. Tomorrow, I'm sure it's loaded. Every Saturday morning, we're usually guaranteed at least a couple games.
8:10 Eastern, 5:10 Pacific, Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, Dustin May, Corbin Burns. This is Dodgers minus 120 on the road, even money on the Diamondbacks at home. 9.5 our total here, slightly shaded towards the under. What do you like here?
Well, Matt, Corbin Burns has had some issues so far this year pitching. Dustin May's been pretty good. And so I'm surprised that I can get Dodgers minus 110 first 5. I'll take the better lineup and the better pitcher here. To me, this makes a ton of sense to be on the Dodgers today. This is a Diamondbacks team that has underachieved so far this year. And Corbin Burns, one of the main reasons. He hasn't been good after signing that monster contract. And we all expected that he was going to be Cy Young level. He just simply is not. So give me the Dodgers here first 5 minus 110.
Yeah, we look at, we've already got the Diamondbacks lineup. We don't have the Dodgers lineup yet. They're doing the whole try to just load the top half with lefties against May. So they're going to go Carroll, Marte, who's a switch hitter, Smith, Naylor. So top 4, all lefties. They threw Alec Thomas in there today, and Perdomo's a switch hitter. So we're going to go with 7 of the 9 guys lefties. So they're going to try to do the whole splits thing against Dustin May in this one. Guys, $199 usually gets you an annual subscription with us, but instead we're going to give you 2 extra months absolutely free. So VSiN Pro for 14 months for $199. Of course, you'll get the summary every day of the emailed best bets throughout the course of the network. You get that splits page. You get the picks page, so you can go in and sort by not only the sport, but the handicapper and the day as well. And all of our betting guides, VSiN.com/subscribe, is $199 for 14 months.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. We're sitting here talking about just this day in sports. And while we are a little upset at Major League Baseball for not giving us anything live here, Mike, we do have golf that is going on. We have a full slate of baseball to talk about, which we have done. We've got a couple of playoff games in NBA. We've got a couple of playoff games over in NHL. And then, of course, we have a numbered pay-per-view UFC coming to us this evening. Now joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, Britton Hess. You can find his great work over at VSiN.com and on the Just Win Sports podcast at Britton Hess over on the Twitter machine. Britton, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing good. I'm just a little disappointed you didn't mention the Rome Masters also going on this morning. Like you guys, I'm used to, waking up on having baseball going early on Saturdays on the West Coast. But you know what? No baseball, so it's time to turn into the tennis.
Oh, look at you. Digging deep into the tennis. I know you like to do the tennis betting as well. And maybe we'll have you on to talk that as well at some point. But let's get to the UFC here in UFC 315. We got the main event between Belal Muhammad, JDM, Jack Della Maddalena. And with this, Britton, it's very interesting handicap, I think, in this one. I think that people are looking and saying, okay, if Belal Muhammad wins this thing, he's probably going to win this thing by decision. I don't know if he's going to finish it. I think people are looking at saying if JDM wins, then it's probably going to be some sort of finish somewhere along the way. How does he get it done on the cards? How did you handicap this one?
Yeah, well, it comes down to, Jack Della Maddalena has shown an inability to stop takedowns, and we know that that's all Belal Muhammad really wants to do. That being said, Maddalena is undefeated in the UFC, so he's been able to find a way without just stopping those takedowns. But we know Belal Muhammad has gas tank for days. His striking has improved since he's been started training more at Valley Flow Striking. I really think that, you look at Jack Della Maddalena's 7-0 UFC record, it looks pretty good, but he was losing that fight to Gilbert Burns because he was getting taken down left and right, and then was able to find the big shots late in that fight to actually win via knockout late in that fight. But prior to that, he had won 2 fights via split decision versus Kevin Holland and Faisal Hafiz. Obviously, neither of those guys is fighting for a belt anytime soon. Muhammad, meanwhile, took the long route to the top. He had to go on a 10-fight winning streak, 11-fight unbeaten streak to even get a title shot, and he handled it definitively. Della Maddalena has a big bright future in front of him, but I'm not necessarily sold on his actual his strength of schedule. I mean, he's beat everyone who's been put in front of him. That's half the battle. But I just think matchup wise, I think that Muhammad has a strong chin, a good chin. It's going to be hard to knock him out. And at the end of the day, he's going to be putting a ton of pressure, and he's going to be getting this fight to the ground. And once he gets to the ground, it's not going to be easy to get that back up. And if he does get back up, the mat returns are going to be present. So it's going to be a very taxing fight when it comes to cardio. I like Belal Muhammad. I do expect him to win via decision. But you know what? Last week I got burned on playing Sandhagen via decision due to an injury. So I'm just playing Muhammad. I played a minus 180 offshore to win this fight on the money line.
Quick follow up here, Mike, before you get to the co-main here, Britton. Is there I know people love whenever we come in here and talk about like live betting, and they have to remember the live angle whenever we head into fights. They're like, oh, great, cool. I have to remember this for several hours. Yes, you do. Okay, we're trying to give you another angle here in this thing. So let's say he doesn't get the takedown in round number 1. JDM, looks better on the feet and all of that. Doesn't this seem like a pretty prime time then to get in on Muhammad? Because, again, he's been in the deep waters before. Perhaps then the takedown just starts to work as this thing gets a little bit more taxing, a little bit more going on. So, I hate giving out live angles, right? Because people are just like, dude, that's not a real handicap. But I think in this fight, it is a handicap.
Yeah, to that note, Jack Della Maddalena has never been a main event, never been in a 5-round fight in the UFC. So, once we do get to rounds 4 and 5, assuming we get there, things are going to be, it's going to be uncharted territory for him. Again, we've seen it's a huge opportunity when not only is your first main event a title fight, but it's also your first 5-rounder. Sometimes they bring guys up on fight night cards at the Apex so they get used to fighting 5 rounds in a little bit less pressure spot. But he's being thrown to the wolves right here. And if he does come out strong, I don't think Bilal Muhammad is going to lose any confidence and really worry about it, because he knows he has, enough gas to go full 25 minutes, and he can really get this fight going. Even in round 3, like if he looks like it's close or he's down 2 rounds, you can even bet on him heading into round 3, because at that point, it's just going to be forcing the clinch, forcing the takedowns.
Now, as Matt mentioned, we do have a co-main event here with the women's flyweight title on the line. Shevchenko taking on Faro here. And we see a line that's been pretty stagnant throughout this week with minus 135 favorite and Faro there. Shevchenko coming back at plus 114. What do you make of this flyweight fight for the title as well?
I think that a lot of people are, raising some eyebrows at Shevchenko being an underdog, but I think Faro is a rightful favorite. I didn't officially bet her, but, if I had to choose, I would lay minus 135. I don't think that's an outlandish price at all. Shevchenko is getting up there in age, 37, but not only, has she been, not only is she getting older, her fight age is probably a little higher than that, because she's been so active in the UFC, active in other organizations, active in other combat sports before UFC. Her last several fights have not been, the old school Valentina Bullet Shevchenko of the past. Yes, she's still really, really well rounded. She can strike, she can grapple, she can do, what it takes to win fights. But that trilogy against Grasso was kind of disheartening. Obviously, she got upset in the first one, kind of got robbed of a decision, but it went to a draw in the second one. And then the trilogy, she had to, kind of use the most boring game plan possible and just win via control in that one. Obviously, knowing that you can have that in your back pocket is huge. But Fioreau's 93% takedown defense rate is, legit. Erin Blanchfield, she didn't get taken down by her in like 6 attempts. I believe Rose Namajunas attempted 9 takedowns, didn't get a single one. And I think the power advantage is going to be on Fioreau's side. So I do expect her to actually have this fight on her terms. And because of that, I would expect her to win it.
The age slander coming from you here. Fro's 35. Come on. They're both over 35. You with the age slander.
But substantially less fights.
You with the age slander going on here. We were talking to Britton Hess. Of course, you can find all of his picks over at VSiN.com. But let's go ahead and listen. Jose Aldo, absolute legend in MMA, getting going here as a pretty big favorite. What do you see in this one?
I see a lot of red flags. I mean, we know Aldo is listed at 37 years old, but if you ever heard, the Gilbert Burns podcast where he said, when I started training, Aldo was 2.5, 3 years older than me. And now we're like the same age. How did that happen? So I would say that it's potential that Aldo is actually, 40, not necessarily 37. And also this fight got bumped up from bantamweight to featherweight last minute because Aldo was having trouble making the weight cut. We know Aldo was a featherweight champion, a decade plus ago, but he was undersized in that division, and as depth in the UFC has advanced, he had to kind of go down to 135 to bantamweight and fight guys more of his true size. Zahabi, on the other hand, is a true featherweight, or is truly, able to fight at featherweight as well. So I just don't really think that, I think that Aldo, there's a lot of red flags here. Zahabi's brother is one of the greatest coaches we've seen in MMA, Firas Zahabi. His game plan is going to be tight, skill for skill. In the gym, making training tape, Aldo is probably going to be ahead of him. But I worry about the age factor. Again, I'm sorry for bringing it up again. And Zahabi also is not that young. He's all 37, but he has a much lower, fight age as well, because he's only fought, a handful of times. He had a 2-year layoff earlier on in his career as well. So I actually like Zahabi at plus 160 here. It's just a huge red flag for a guy of, Aldo's age and fight age to be having to drop out of the, having to have them change the weight class like 2 days before the fight like this. So I like Zahabi plus 160.
Now, we know people love moneyline parlays in the UFC. You mentioned you like Muhammad there. He's a pretty big favorite, minus 190, depending on where you look. You've got Silva at minus 250 here, taking on Grasso. You mentioned she's been struggling the last couple fights. Saint Denis, minus 1,000 as well out there. Do you have a moneyline parlay you like tonight? Or are you just going to go fight by fight?
So I have 2 parlays that I played in the article. One is the Saint Denis Prepolek fight doesn't start round 3, parlayed with Jasmine Jasudavicius. When she's in Canada, she looks like she could be a champion. I mean, I don't necessarily think she has that pedigree, but in front of this crowd, she has proven before that she can pull off great things. And then Saint Denis, he's kill or be killed in the first 2 rounds, basically every time he goes out there. His opponent is a guy who's going to be searching for knockouts. I don't know if it's going to work versus a high-level UFC fighter like Saint Denis, but I don't think that fight's going to be very long. I think Jasudavicius wins. That's minus 122. And then I have a no-distance parlay Mike Mallet versus Charles Radke. Both these guys, Mallet made his career by getting early finishes. Charles Radke has fallen in love with getting knockouts lately. I think they're both going to be searching for it. So no distance there. And then Marc-Andre Barriault against Bruno Silva, no distance. These two fights parlayed no distance is plus 122. Barriault is on a line. He comes out straight at you, swinging as hard as he can. He either gets hit and taken down, knocked down, or he gets the knockout right away. Bruno Silva is actually a really strong striker. He just is afraid to get hit. But in this matchup, he's either going to get knocked out or his striking is going to come out and he's going to find a chin. So I like both those fights, no distance. Mallet versus Radke and Barriault versus Silva, plus 122 if neither of those make it to the final bell.
He is Britton Hess. Get all of his picks over at VSiN.com. And, of course, subscribe to the Just Win Sports podcast at Britton Hess over on the Twitter machine. Britton, thanks for the time, buddy, and good luck.
Thank you.
We'll put a bow on this one when we come back here. It's Ready, Set, Bet on VSiN.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
To Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Final segment, Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Thanks for hanging out with us last 3 hours here as we've run through each and everything in all of sports, Mike. We've talked every single sport there is on the face of the planet. There's nothing else to talk about here. Cornhole, I guess. You can't bet cornhole. They allow you to bet cornhole.
You didn't talk about, there was a softball game on when you walked in the studio. We didn't handicap the softball.
I didn't know the line. But then I didn't want to just make something up as we were doing.
That's fair.
So
excellent point. Excellent point.
That's what it all comes down to. We did tip off. This got really quickly out to 6.5 at FanDuel right before it went. So we did blast through the 6 at least at one book before this thing took off. But an early 7-3 lead for the Celtics. About 9:20 left in the first quarter.
Let's run it up, baby. Come on, Celtics. Don't let them be close. Run it up and stay up. Yes. No, none of these comebacks, Matt.
Did play the Celtics 5.5 and an alt, so we'll see how that all turns out. And also an under on Al Horford, so hopefully he doesn't light it up. Actually, I mean, if he lights it up and then they win by $1 billion, then who cares? I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, then it's fine. Okay, let's get to our best bets here. These are always brought to you by G Bank. And Mike, you have several bets for us to talk about. Before we get going, have the horses run yet, or are those still live as well?
Plenty of time. First race is a 6:16 first post.
Okay, so there we go. So we should throw that one in as well on this. Belmont at the Big A, race 10, the 4-horse, race 11, the 1-horse. Obviously, pari-mutuel betting, so we don't know. The odds are what the odds are. So they will be whatever they are. But yes, the 4-horse in race 10 and the 1-horse in race 11. Let's go through the other ones you got.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a lot of bets in the account today. We're going to start out in the NHL here. We got the Hurricanes minus a half goal in the first period. I expect them to come out flying in the first home game that they have in the series against the Capitals. The first 10 minutes especially, they should be off and running here. So we'll lay the half goal first period for the Hurricanes, plus 114 here. I also put a Dallas Stars to win the West bet into my account and get plus 205 because of the way that we've seen the Oilers jump out and the Stars currently sitting at 1-1. We saw the price for the Stars float up while the Oilers came down. I'll take advantage of that, get a plus 205 for the Stars to win the West in the account. I like the Dodgers today. First five money line, minus 110 in that spot. First 5 money line for the Royals as well, minus 135. Cole Reagan's on the hill taking on Garrett Crochet. I'm still not a believer in Crochet, so don't mind playing the Royals there, who have won 7 straight and 9 of their last 10. Give me Buddy Hield over 14.5 points, minus 105. He's had 24 and 15 points in the first 2 games of the series. But more importantly, Matt, played 40 minutes in game 1 and 29 minutes in 3/4 of action in game 2. I expect the minutes are there, which means the opportunities are there. Did take 11 shots inside the 3-point arc in game 1 as well. So do want to play the over points total versus the 3-point prop in that spot. Give me Paul Goldschmidt, anytime homer and anytime RBI. Homer is sitting at plus 310, RBI plus 115. He's facing JP Sears today in Sacramento. That ballpark is playing toward runs. In this case, it's also a phenomenal day to be a hitter. Wind blowing out 5 miles per hour with gusts up to 15 miles per hour. And Goldschmidt hitting .581 against lefties this year. His batting average last year, 65 points higher. So we'll take advantage of that and take Goldschmidt anytime homer and anytime RBI. And then just for fun, Mike, parlay here. Every bet doesn't have to be just what's the advantage. Sometimes you just want to have fun. I think we see runs in Coors. I think we see runs in Sacramento. Let's take Goldschmidt and Bellinger to each record an RBI for the Yankees today. And then let's take Tatis, Machado, and Bogarts to each record an RBI for the Padres who are in Colorado. Put the 5 of them together, you get 25-1, Matt. Why not a little 25-1 parlay?
Yeah, man. It's something to sweat. Multiple games to sweat it too, right? So that's always fun. Braves and Pirates for me. Braves first 5 innings. We said this Pirates team struggling to score runs as it is anyway, not hitting for any sort of power whatsoever. They are 27th slugging last 3 weeks, 29th in runs scored. And then also Andrew Heaney seems to have lost it. Whatever little magic fairy dust that he had going on there at the beginning of the season is long gone. Tobias Myers, over 3.5 strikeouts. And Mike, you have some news on this game. It's actually a good thing for our strikeout prop here.
Yeah, so the start time has been delayed. We were worried about weather in this game between the Brewers and the Rays down at Tampa. Because of showers passing through, they delayed the start time, which, again, positive for you because it means you're most likely not going to get that rain delay in the first couple innings, which then really hurts the opportunity to go over on the strikeout.
Yeah, so we were talking about how dicey of a play this one was. This does make it better for us because they just decided, hey, let's not get out there and have to come right off the field. They're just going to delay the start time, which hopefully they let the weather pass and then we can get a good start here. The Rays are third highest K rate in Major League Baseball over the last 3 weeks. If you look at Myers' career history, actually much higher K rate than he has had this year. And even last year, he had a better one in the majors. And if you look at his minors, I mean, this was a guy that was approaching 27, 28, 29, even had a 30% K rate year early on in his career, Mike. So I think we can get some positive regression here for Myers. And then the Rays, like we said, not hitting the ball a ton here. And of course, we already have the stuff going here in the Celtics game. These are our best bets. They're brought to you by GBank, as they are each and every show here on VSiN. And most of these credit cards are treating your sports books and gaming transactions like cash advances, but they're not going to do that over at GBank. And so what that does is actually ends up saving you kind of like 3 to 5% on cash advance fees whenever you are using your GBank card. Also, go in, you can get cashback rewards here on all eligible sports books and gaming transactions, 2% cashback on other eligible purchases as well. Apply now at VSiN.com/GBank. That is VSIN.com/GBANK. Mike, we did have an alternate event going on on the PGA Tour as well. There's one over at Myrtle Beach. Since there's only 72 golfers that were invited to the signature event, there is an alternate event going on. So you're getting kind of like the dudes that weren't quite making the cut going. This round by Ryan Fox, like imagine being able to go and follow Ryan Fox in his round 3 over at Myrtle Beach. If you'd have just walked with him all day long. Birdie, 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 bogey, birdie, par, bogey, 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 birdie, bogey, birdie, 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 bogey, par, par. He only had... What's
he doing at the end? What's he doing at the end there?
He only had 3 holes of par golf, and every other hole he either birdied or bogeyed. That would be a fun walk. That's a fun watch right there.
I got to be honest, I'm impressed he didn't double a hole because clearly it was either on or off, right? And if you can go through that process and not pick up a double at some point, that's kind of impressive because if you're clearly missing shots, if you have that many bogeys on your card.
I mean, just an absolute fantastic round. Keith Mitchell and Shane Lowry are tied atop the leaderboard over there again at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. 13 apiece for them, but 2 under for Sepp Straka here, Mike. So he is only 1 stroke off the lead, and Hideki Matsuyama with the round of the day, 7 under. He's already in the clubhouse, so he can't gain any more on these guys, but he is at 10 under. So he's at least will have a chance as we head into Sunday Nick Taylor, Sam Burns, Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, Jacob Bridgman, Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, all of these guys still lurking. So this thing could get interesting come Sunday for sure. We did tip off over there, Celtics and the Knicks, an early 13-6 lead for the Celtics. Hey, Mike, just call it. Call the game. It's over. Let's call it right now. It's donezo. There we go. Let's get the win in. Horford is 1 for 1 from 3, so I'm great on that. So he's
even more reason to call it, right? Just end the game now. The total that was battled about here in the last 15 minutes leading up to the game, it was sitting at 209 all day. Got bet all the way up to 211, then dropped to 210, which is what we closed at. 206 early in-game total. So early returns fighting toward the under. The Knicks points, I think, are going to be very important because I do expect Boston to play some pretty good defense today. They are early on here. By the way, they're not going to finish at 100%, but they are 3 for 3 from 3. So the Celtics, pretty good with the horrible 3-point shooting through the first 2 games, are at least 3 of 3 for 25 of 100. Mike, 25 of 100 the first couple of games. A lot of open threes too. The first game they had 63 3-pointers. 56 of them graded as open, which means they had at least 4 feet of room, and they shot sub 20% on those. Not good. Not good, Matt. A reminder, when we are done here, you're going to want to stick around. We still have live bet Saturday to come. That's going to follow with cashing out. And then, of course, tomorrow you can come back around over here and you'll get Tim Murray with the VSiN weekend morning line as well to get you set up for the day. But Mike, this is, again, kind of one of those deals where it is an under the radar good sports day. I like Bilal Muhammad, UFC tonight. I like him by decision. I know it's a hefty price to pay. So if you do want to wait and get in game and see if maybe he loses on the feet or something like that in round 1. But this is a dude that's been through the muck here. He's fought 5 rounders before. JDM, certainly a guy that is not out of the realm of possibility for him to knock out Muhammad, but I think this is just a bridge too far here for this. So do like him in the main event in that one, Mike. So again, if you want to give you one more fun bet to sweat tonight. Hey, why not? Little chasing action there late. When we, guys, tomorrow, me and Mike back here on the desk, we will see what ends up happening here. Hopefully the Celtics can figure things out. Interesting in the hockey world as well. Can the Golden Knights get it together? And if not, it is donezo. Ready, set, bet here on VSiN.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.